Physio Hypertermia is the first diathermy that applies the appropriate therapeutic dose by measuring its effects on the patient. Such a feature differentiates the Physio Hypertermia from competing methods and makes it an operator-independent system with clear advantages in terms of safety. The main features of such a device are heating efficiency, even at considerable depth, maintenance of the established hypothermic condition for the entire treatment time, accuracy in determining the required temperature in depth, selectivity, reproducibility, operator-independent device. The technical innovation is based on the choice to bind together two sources that operate simultaneously on the treatment area. The endogenous source, electromagnetic wave, to generate the thermal increase. The exogenous source, water bolus containing thermostated water, to control the temperature of the skin layers. The winning approach lies in the penetration of the two sources to different depths. The exogenous source lowers the temperature in proximity of the skin surface, while the endogenous heat of high penetration obtained with electromagnetic waves carries the endogenous heat much more in depth. Easytech offers two different devices that share the same user interface. The Nova, or the portable solution designed for those who also need to move to different studios. The Delta, most suitable for those centers where the overall dimension of the device do not constitute a problem and makes it more suitable for continuous and intense work. There are 4 ways to set the device before starting a treatment. First, select the anatomical district you want to treat. Then choose from a list of pathologies that will appear on the display. Press OK to start the treatment. Treatment settings. A correct centering of the applicator in the area to be treated is always essential in order to obtain the desired temperature within these tissues. It is therefore important to align the center of the applicator with the center of the bolus, the thermocouple, and the area where you want to induce hypothermia. To make the treatment effective, please note that the antenna that emits the electromagnetic wave must be perpendicular to the skin in order to fully invest the anatomical target. Make sure the water bolus is evenly about 1–2 centimeters thick, so that the quantity of liquid contained inside will be sufficient. The thermocouple is in charge of sending feedback on the temperature of the anatomical tissues. It is therefore also crucial that the thermocouple is in contact with the skin so that it is possible to continuously measure the thermal increase in depth. The second way to set up the treatment is to enter the pathology treatment setup, divided into 5 families: muscle, tendon, osteocartilage, bends, backs, entrapment syndromes. In alternative, we can set up a treatment by selecting the structure and depth treatment setup based on different tissues: muscular, muscle-articular, mixed or articular, and depth divided into superficial, intermediate, deep, or scan. With the control buttons in the top right corner, you can slightly modify the treatment without changing the fundamental parameters that determine its depth and intensity. You can increase or decrease the temperature of the heat peak in depth in case the patient reports a sensation of pain. If needed, you can set the pulse treatment in order to alternate the treatment with moments of pause. Another possibility is the manual selection of parameters. Here, the operator has to select every single treatment parameter. The temperature of the bolus is correlated with the intensity, that is, the heat increase of the treatment. It also manages the skin temperature measured instant by instant by the thermocouple. The delta value is directly related to the depth of the heat peak. The power represents how fast we reach the desired temperature. We know that people dissipate heat differently depending on their characteristics and body compositions. Therefore, once the operating temperature is reached, the electromagnetic wave power supply adapts to the body in order to maintain the treatment temperature for the entire time of the session. Lastly, time plays an energy dosing role of the thermal energy administered, which must be sufficient to activate the biophysiological processes induced by hyperemia. What do I do if the patient feels pain during the treatment? The first thing to do is to pause the treatment. If the pain persists, the problem is most likely to be caused by the wrong positioning of the patient. On the other hand, if the patient stops feeling pain, the problem is the intensity of the treatment. It is advisable to use the buttons at the top right of the screen so as to lower the intensity of the treatment without changing the working parameters. You can also set the treatment in a paused way to alternate it with moments of pause.